Yeah, just gone live. Yeah. Get this readjusted. It's a bit better. Cool, so back on now. I've just started the live stream. Just paused for a minute whilst I was on social media. So hopefully it's working now. Good to go, yeah. Yeah, it might go a long way around to a potential river. But if you want to go around to the front, it's back down the way we came and then to the left. So maybe check out the front and then come back around.
We're going to go back to the front. While we're here, guys, keep posting on how the strength is, how the audio is.
There's a big truck just going out as well.
Coming in on that side, and they're going around the back, and then they're offloading. I think that they're offloading.
So yeah, we've just arrived at a slaughterhouse in the southwest of the UK. It's ABP Slaughterhouse, and here they take animals that are sheep and that are cows. So they take multiple different animals here.
Speak up for them.
Don't think there's any chickens, but yeah, hi Laura, how are you doing?
Yeah, look, here we go, look.
It's all the workers.
All the high vis start panicking when the cameras come out. Oh no, quick.
Don't think activists have been here for quite a long time, so it's good to wake them up a bit. They're all coming out now. This is a pretty huge site. As I said, they take multiple animals in here. We've already seen lots of trucks come in earlier today. And we're taking just a look around the site. We just were at the back of the facility. And that was the packing area, which, yeah, there wasn't too much going on. There's quite a few trucks there hiding, where the actual I guess where the bodies are taken out of the facilities into the lorries. They do it further inside. They don't want to do it right up against the gates, but yeah, we did just see a woman walking her dog, and yeah, she literally lives at the house, literally 10 meters away from this place, which is crazy. Like the smell, you can smell it almost a mile down the road. So I can't imagine what it would be like to live here. But just, you know, this is the first time I've been at this slaughterhouse. And I've been to quite a few around the country, and so far this place looks absolutely massive. Just show you a bit more of what's going on. This is the staff car park. So we're at a UK slaughterhouse, and we're here to expose the reality of what happens in this industry. We're here to bear witness to the trucks coming in, which will be cows and sheep. And there's a truck right here at the moment, so we're going to go over. So there's two trucks just leaving the slaughterhouse now, that big blue one and then this small grey trailer. There could be cows or sheep in those small grey trailers. And then, yeah, this is the site. So it's another ABP chain, one of the biggest slaughterhouse chains in the UK. We're here with Mel and Steve today, live streaming at the same time. If you don't already, please go to their channel and give them a follow. This is the security box. Looks like we might be locked in.
you say this side of the gate?
No, on the side too.
Alright. Okay guys, so we're here, we found it, we found a spot.
So lock the gates.
The animals here, the bullies and hivers.
Make your way to the grass.
The grass? Where's the public property start? What, when the concrete changes? Yeah, alright. When the trucks come up, we're just going to come and film the animals.
You can see that side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here we go, there they are. The bullies that work at ABP.
So yeah, as soon as we've turned up, they've locked the gates, they've got all the security out. They obviously don't want activists to be here. I don't think they've had activists here in a long time, so the first thing they do is trying to kick us off. We had come from a public footpath anyway, so you know there's nothing wrong that we were doing. So we'll have to stand at the entrance, which is just off a fairly main road. And yeah, I'll give you a quick pan around of the site. So yeah, this is ABP. They're hiring. It's a joke. So yeah, the trucks will come in off this main road and they'll pull up. So interestingly, if they've got the gates locked, the trucks won't be going in straight away. They will have to unlock the gates each time. So unless they know that they're coming in and open them straight away, we should have at least some time with them.
We've got this amount of time to run next to the trucks, that's a good thing. And because they won't be turning, like we've got a long road.
Yeah, some of the big trucks that will take a while to just turn the corner.
Yeah.
So
So I think we'll be...
us on each side should be.
I think that's hilarious, they locked us in.
Yeah.
They were like,
They didn't even realise. Locking us in.
We're just restarting our live because it went out.
Oh, was it signal?
Yeah.
Ah, damn. I need to check mine as well. But yeah, this is in England, so it's in the southwest of the UK.
Yeah, yours is alright. I've got yours up here.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
I was worried that was going to happen, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, Langport, Laura. So
Bit of signal.
yeah, always wanted to check out this place. It's there's quite a few around the local area that I've been to, so it's good to see this for the first time today. So yeah, I'm going to try and position the camera so when the trucks come around, you'll be able to see the animals coming in. As I said, there's already been quite a few trucks already this morning. Mel and Steve are just restarting their live stream, just in case you were tuning in as well. The signal's not great around here. Yeah, you can see that security are all calling around now. You might not be able to see it in the background. They're all on the phones, all getting security around. They'll probably get more security to come and drive up as well, to come and be around us, because generally if there's activists outside, they have to pay more money to pay for more security. So yeah, they're losing money by us being here, which is brilliant because we don't want this industry to exist. So if there's any way we can take the industry down, whether it's the security and all the other suppliers, it all helps the mission. Be careful, yeah, know what they're like. Yeah, know what the security like. Also know what the truckers are like. There's been quite a few recent incidents where the trucks will not slow down if you're even the slightest bit in the road. So you've always got to be careful. But yeah, I would highly encourage anyone to come down and see these things for yourself. See the animals that come in off the trucks that these industries just don't expose you to. They're very much hidden, and that's why we, a small group of activists, every now and then will go to a place like this and we'll film the animals that come in. And just as I was driving down today, there was a small grey sheep trailer that pulled up into a petrol station, and I thought I'd have a quick look. There was a little sheep sort of poking their head out the window, so I did a U-turn and managed to get some footage of those sheep. They look so young. They're often slaughtered between 4 to 6 months old, but these sheep looked 2 to 3 months at most. They were tiny babies, and they were destined heading down to a sheep slaughterhouse just a few miles down the road, so we know exactly where watch out, guys. So some of the staff coming in. Security's on their way, so this should be interesting. What have they got to say?
Let us back in.
No, could I ask you to move away from...
Well, this is public.
No, this is our private land.
No, this is public.
This is the road. Your
The
private
road,
land's
the
there.
road ain't safe.
Until that line.
No, it's yours
Now
is
we're
there.
staying here.
I'm
This is,
just asking you politely.
but this is public land. I know what you're trying to do. This is
We're
what
not
you
going
can
to
see.
let you boss us around.
I can
That's
see
all
where
right,
your
don't
boundary starts.
We'll sort ourselves out, don't worry. It's much better for us.
So you're putting us at risk now.
Yeah, you're not going to care about our safety. You're bullies. You look at your babies. You're bullies. Don't you dare say it's about our safety. You're bullies. You're evil, disgusting people working here. You're scumbags.
If they really cared about our safety, they wouldn't put us right next to a road.
You got to think to yourself, right? What are they trying to
And
hide?
it,
They want us
yeah, it really doesn't surprise us, to be honest.
far away from the gates as possible. They want us far away from
Exactly. They want this place hidden. They don't want anyone here with cameras exposing what happens. They want us to go. They want us to go away. They want to be gone. They want us to be as far away as possible. They'll lock us in. They're back on their phones again. So who knows what they're up to? But we're not doing anything wrong. We have a right to be here. We have a right to expose. They'd have us stood in the road if they could. So yeah, I don't know if you just saw that, like how close they're trying to move Mel and Steve away. And if cars are turning in here, which, oh, it's just happening again, that is now a huge safety risk. So the staff have put us as activists, us as humans, at a very high risk situation, just be allowed onto the road only, which, you know, that you can see where the private property boundary probably would lie, because this is part of the road, but they want us as far away as possible. So yeah, I think we've really caught security off guard today. They really weren't expecting us, and they don't think they've had activists here for quite a long time. So yeah, I think that's a bit of a shock to their system as soon as they spotted us, and they're still on the phones now. Looks like maybe head of security is, probably on the phone to more security backup. There's a lot of staff sort of panicking around the back. They're probably looking to tidy up. Yeah, look how bothered they are, just from a couple of people standing here with a camera. I'd love to know who they're on the phone to now, but yeah, I would imagine most, like other places, it will be more security to just as backup. Not that we're going to do anything. We know we're here to be peaceful. I hope you have a drone. Yeah, good point. We actually went around the side just now, and there's a helicopter pad, and I said, well, that's interesting. I have a helicopter pad right next to a slaughterhouse. So I don't have a drone with me, but I'll be intrigued to see if this is in a legible fly zone or not. So that's definitely one to look out for. But yeah, not sure they have a helicopter pad right next to a slaughterhouse. Why are you standing there with a camera? So we're here to basically bear witness and expose the slaughterhouse trucks that will be turning up on site, and they have been all morning. And so there's basically cows being transported in. There'll be dairy cows and beef cows, so cows that be slaughtered a fraction of their lives, and they're taken into these places to be killed and packaged up and taken away in refrigeration trucks. And also they might take multiple animals here, which is fairly unique to some slaughterhouses that only have sheep or only have cows, and this takes cows and sheep. So some more staff arriving. It's 8:15 local time. So yeah, the sheep are usually babies. They're no more than 6 months old, and they're slaughtered for meat. You know, they're babies, and I think a lot of people don't realise how young some of these animals are. And even the dairy cows, who are a bit older, they're generally between 3 and 5 years old. So they are essentially milked throughout their lives. They're forcibly impregnated. When they give birth, they steal their babies away from them, because obviously when you give birth, the mothers produce milk for their babies, and instead of giving the milk to their babies, they take the babies away, and they take the milk and package it up and sell it to human beings. So if they're females when they're born, they will be basically forced into the same simulation as all of the other dairy cows. So they are going to then be forcibly impregnated and repeated until they're known as spent, where they're no longer valuable to the industry, they're no longer profitable. And then once they stop producing enough milk, they are basically then sent to slaughter for cheap meat for things like burgers. And if the mothers give birth and they are not female babies, if they're male calves, they are generally taken away and either killed within a week, because males are not used to the dairy industry because they can't produce milk. And then if not, they'll be taken and basically, yeah, sold as veal. So these industries, whether it's, you're paying for the animal's meat, so if you're paying for cow meat, beef, or if you're paying for dairy, you're basically still paying for any animals to be coming into these places to be slaughtered. And there's slaughterhouses all around the country. Obviously, there's cow slaughterhouses, sheep, chickens, pigs. There's always, slaughterhouses around, and would highly encourage you to just see it for yourself. You can see the animals coming in the trucks. You can see the state that they're covered in. They're covered in their own feces. They're often, just, you can see some of the cows sort of, the tears almost coming out their eyes. You can see the fear, you can smell the horrendous situations, and they know that they're being taken somewhere, which is basically hell on earth for them. What's the difference between a young animal and an old animal? They're still just mindless. Well, they're both individuals. They're, if you're young or old, you're an individual that wants to live. Look at, humans looking at babies versus old people. They all just want to live their lives, and animals are no different to that. The fact that we breed these animals into existence to then kill them as babies is a complete disgrace. And if people knew that they were eating baby animals, these cute, lambs that you see in fields, or these baby cows, that actually you're putting a bolt gun to their head, slicing their throat, or putting them into a gas chamber, all for the sake of a 5-10 minute meal. And the point is that this is unnecessary, it's exploitation, and it doesn't need to happen. So why should we pay for this to happen? Well, you don't have to. So you can be vegan, and you can basically not have to pay for animals to be slaughtered here. You can pay to not have animals have their throats sliced. You can choose a kinder option rather than an exploitative option. And why would you not want to choose that? Would you come and kill the animals yourself? Would you have the heart to do that? But because you don't see any of that, you see a product on a shelf in a supermarket that was so disconnected from the reality. So there's a truck coming in now. So what I'll do is start filming and then show you exactly what's going on. I think it's not, so I've got 3 bars at the moment. So there was cows inside of that truck. Obviously it just had the opening at the very, very top. So what I'll do is just try and rewind some footage so you can just see what was inside that truck.
Worldwide, standard practice in these industries, absolutely standard. Signals lacking a little bit.
There's so many packed in there, and you can hear you can hear the cows groaning now.
Yeah, over there. You know what I might do? Where's the
You hear them?
around the river over there?
Yeah, let me
I
show
might just
you
go
where
down
the
so
other
I can film.
footpath is. So unless you see them go down the back again.
I missed them on my Osmo, which is annoying. Wasn't high enough.
Yeah, I need mine a bit more angled in.
Signal's bad here.
So yeah, right down this side here
Not great.
is
Anyway,
actually
anyone
a footpath.
joining
Yeah,
the
the other
stream?
side of the gate.
Alright, I'm just gonna go and have a wander.
Right, anyone joining this stream, we're outside of the slaughterhouse. The gates that you can see behind me here is the gate to a slaughterhouse. So the animals today this is the equivalent of the gates of hell, because they're going to be taken back behind here, they're going to be taken onto a layerage, onto a kiln floor, they're going to be bolt gunned in the head.
So here's some of the footage of the animals that were just inside. You can see the picture's not great quality, but all the cows are packed in there, and they're basically about to be killed imminently, essentially. They are going to be taken inside, they're going to be bolt gunned to the head, and you can see a bit more of the site. So yeah, bolt gunned to the head, and then they'll have their throat sliced. So those cows, they're potentially dairy cows or potentially beef cows, but doesn't really matter what type of cows, if they're male, female, what industries they're bred for, they're going to be killed in exactly the same way. Cool, signal's good, it's good to know.
Someone thinks that we're weak-minded for being a vegan. I think
So there's a refrigeration truck coming in now. So this is where the animals, once they're killed, they'll be essentially processed, chopped up, and their bodies will be transported back out into these refrigeration trucks.
evil.
Some more staff turning up as well.
Jai, we gotta eat meat.
I totally agree that animals we eat should have a better life. I mean, yeah, the chickens, like you've just mentioned, they're usually 6 weeks old, 42 days old, and they're forced lowered into their crates into CO2 gas chambers where they'll burn from the insides and suffocate to death. And the question is then, though, just, could they be treated better? But how would you treat someone and kill someone that doesn't want to die? At the end of the day, animals want to live just like us. To spin it on, when you have a job. I love how they always assume that us people that don't have jobs. It's quite funny, really. The classic vegans don't have jobs, don't shower, any other stereotypes. But yeah, so we're, exposing these industries. But yeah, so the animals, if we gave them a better life but still killed them, would that make it fine? In the same way, if us as humans, let's say, we gave them a nice life, we had humans in a house, we fed them 3 meals a day, we looked after them, gave them comfy beds, but at the age of 5 years old, we send them to a slaughterhouse and gas them to death or slice their throat. Does that make it any more ethical? When you're taking the life of someone that doesn't want to die? Yeah, exactly, James. So yeah, and it's crazy that, we're 8 billion humans on this planet and we're struggling, essentially to feed them all. Yet, at the end of the day, we're feeding 92 billion land animals and, yeah, we can't feed enough humans. Puts that in perspective. So yeah, we're here at a new slaughterhouse today for anyone that's just joined. And we're exposing the industries of animal agriculture. We're showing what happens to cows and sheep that are taken here. And yeah, exposing these industries. So these could be dairy cows going in. So these are mother cows that are known as spent. And that's where they're forcibly impregnated. They are raped. They're forcibly impregnated, where their babies are then taken from them and then killed if they're male. And if they're not male, they're female. And then the females will then go into the same industry and they'll be onto the same production cycle to produce milk and take that milk to sell to humans instead of giving to their babies. Goes on the cycle for a couple of years and then they're slaughtered as well. And yeah, so the sheep are about 4 to 6 months old. Is there a car? I thought there was a truck coming. Yeah, so the sheep are 4 to 6 months old. They're babies, they live beyond 10 years old. And yeah, we kill them at a fraction of their life. They are just babies. And it's just absolutely sickening. I feel like if people knew that they're eating 42-day-old chickens that were gassed to death, eating sheep that were 4 to 6 months old, they're tiny, tiny babies, and they're slaughtered. Pigs at 6 months old are forced into CO2 gas chambers. Their eyes burn, their lungs burn, they suffocate from the inside for the sake of a bacon sandwich. They're sheep, just sheep. And, we're humans, just humans. We want to live just as much as sheep want to live, as any other animal wants to live. Why do we have to live in this mindset of let's use and exploit animals for our own benefit when we don't need to? It's unnecessary. It's exploitation. We don't need to do it. We can just choose other options. We can choose kinder options. Why would we want to choose harm to animals? We should respect them. Yeah, hey Chip, excellent point there. Yeah, we've been brought up in society that, brings up animals and we eat animals as we kind of are grown up and brainwashed into this society, but actually we have to look at what's morally right or wrong. I wasn't vegan from birth. I grew up in the same system. But as soon as you see what happens to animals and you realize the harm and suffering that it causes, you then have a choice of whether you want to support these industries further by paying your money towards them, or you can choose the kinder options. And that's the crux of it, like awareness and exposure of what happens, and then it's down to personal accountability. So in the description of this video, there's a link to 3minutes.wtf. It's a 3-minute video, and for all of these, the comments on this chat that are, almost supporting this industry, I'd urge you to watch this 3-minute movie. You've got 3 minutes. If you can be on the live stream and commenting, you've got 3 minutes to spare. Watch the 3-minute movie, and then come back on and comment what you watched. And it's a revelation you kind of film, and it will show you exactly what happens to the animals. And there's other longer documentaries to watch at another time. So I'd highly recommend watching Dominion or The Land of Hope and Glory. And you can see exactly what happens to animals, from the way they're bred, where they're farmed, how they're killed, and then the products that people buy, in supermarkets and in restaurants. Animals eat each other too. Not all animals do, though. That's the point. You wouldn't say that to, any herbivores, would you? And us as the kind of omnivores, we have a choice we can eat meat, but we can eat plants. So if we can eat plants, why would we choose the meat option? Why would we choose to kill animals when we don't need to? People using the kind of the lion's ideology. Well, what about elephants? What about rhinos? What about hippos? The biggest, strongest animals eat plants. Yeah, exactly. And there's many things that we wouldn't do as if we were comparing ourselves to a lion. We compare it to just the food we eat, but how would we act as lions do in society, where they kill their young? They go around essentially raping other lions. We live in a very different society to how animals live in the wild. This is not part of the so-called food chain, because the food chain involves mass breeding and genetic modification of animals. And this, no part of nature is this going to happen. Go outside a halal slaughterhouse, I dare you. I mean, what difference will going outside a halal slaughterhouse make? Wouldn't be surprised if this was one anyway. I think there's another truck coming around. Oh, they're just trailers going past with. Yeah, it's a heavily farming area, so you see a lot of transport trucks going past, carrying waste, carrying various things to support their farms. Artificial insemination is not rape. So if you're putting your fist up a cow with semen without consent, how is that not rape? If you did that to a human being, what would you call that? If you're inserting semen into a female without consent, come on. And that's the reality of these industries that people just don't know about. So the cows that are impregnated year after year, a farmer will basically get a sleeve up to the end of sort of his arm. He will put his fist up the cow, and then take a rod which has got essentially the semen taken from a bull, which, I mean, use your imagination of how they've taken the semen from a bull, and then they'll put that through into the cow to inseminate the cow, the female cow, and then that will get them pregnant, and then they will give birth. And then their babies are taken from them, and then they're slaughtered. Why on earth would you want to pay for that?
You're seeing this is a slaughterhouse. Why would you want to go up to these people and give them money? Because you're doing that when you purchase these products in the supermarket.
So yeah, for anyone that's just tuned in, we're at a UK slaughterhouse, bearing witness to cows and sheep coming through, and they're essentially killed at babies. So the sheep that are coming in are 4 to 6 months old, and the cows are going to be either dairy cows or beef cows. So either way, they're slaughtered for their meat, and the dairy cows are usually 3 to 5 years old. And after cycles of forcible impregnation, having their babies stolen from them, they are then slaughtered. They're bolt gunned to the head, and they're strung up and have their throats sliced.
You think you're a lion, which you're not. And now you just punch yourself.
So yeah, I'm here with activist Mel and Steve today. They're also live streaming right now. If you're not already following them or subscribing, go and give @Mel and Steve a follow and tune into their live stream as well. And yeah, so we've been to a lot of different slaughterhouses throughout the country. This is quite a big site. We haven't quite gone round to see the full extent of it, but it's been fairly busy. There was quite a few trucks leaving the slaughterhouse as we arrived, so empty, so they would have already dropped off the animals. And so obviously they get here super early. And yeah, this slaughterhouse in particular hasn't had activists here for quite a long time. And it's good because they are very shaken up. The staff have all sort of started to panic. They all on the phones. They locked us in by accident, which was quite funny really. But yeah, they eventually sort of panicked and got rid of us. And we were coming off of a public footpath anyway, so there's nothing that we're doing wrong, and we're on a public right of way at the moment. So yeah, they sort of locked up now. They shut the gates, and when the trucks come in, they'll obviously let the trucks in as quickly as possible because they don't want activists here with a camera exposing exactly what happens in these industries. Cheers, Aaron. Yeah, good old algorithm. Most diets are not just diets, they're entwined with cultural beliefs. Does culture dictate morality? Is the question. There's a lot of things in culture that we did in the past that definitely nowadays would not be seen as morally justifiable. I mean, you can probably think of quite a few examples of things we've done that's culturally acceptable in the past. The Holocaust, slavery, the idea that women shouldn't have rights. That was a culturally acceptable norm, yet today in society, it's not morally justifiable and right. So using culture as an excuse to kill animals is just ridiculous.
I didn't put it all the way out last time.
Yeah, I managed to catch a bit of footage, but it'll come up better on like post edit. But I hate using it on this mode. There's quite a few in there.
Oh wow, they're compacting.
But they don't look like dairy cows.
No, they look actually younger than young beef cows.
Yeah. I don't know if I've got any more.
I hate calling them that, young cows.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beef industry.
Yeah, I needed to have my GoPro a bit higher
Yeah,
and then angled down. You can see little faces. Holocaust and slavery is not on the same level as animal killings. Why can't we make comparisons to that? We breed 92 billion land animals, exploit them and kill them every year. The idea is there's victims, there's individuals that are dying. Making comparisons across society is perfectly justifiable. If you're against millions of individuals dying, you should be against millions of individual animals dying. There's no difference. They're using the same methods. They're put into gas chambers. What's disgusting about it? This is the animal holocaust on a much, much higher scale. You know, the pigs are being forced on trucks and they're held in essentially, you know, camps in sheds, and then they're taken to be gassed to death.
You're someone who's come onto the stream. Thank you for being here. We're at a slaughterhouse. Most people have never even been to a slaughterhouse before. Look at it. You wouldn't know this is a slaughterhouse.
At the end of the day, if you were in their position, would you want me to speak up for you as well? If you were coming in on that truck, crammed together, about to be gassed to death or have your throat sliced, would you want me to speak up for you as well?
Your money to do this. So that's what we're saying. That's why we're here. Not to clash with you, to educate you. Because most people do not understand.
So I know I've missed quite a few comments.
You do better, then that is your fault. When you know better and you don't change, then there is no more patience because you are knowingly doing this to these beautiful animals, and that is insane. That is
Yeah, that's a very good point, Chip. You know, we seem to love cats, dogs, and the thought of a little puppy dog. Imagine a truck full of puppies being taken here, about to be gassed to death or shot in the head and sliced by the throats. There would be public outroar. But at the end of the day, what's the difference morally? You know, pigs are just intelligent, if not more intelligent than dogs. But us as society has, the comment earlier about being brainwashed, you know, we're brought into this society where some animals we love, some animals are gassed to death. It doesn't make sense. They're all individuals that have the same capacity to feel. So why would we not treat both with compassion and make more compassionate choices?
Shows me that we're right when I say you're uneducated in what happens to animals you don't know. Or you're employed by the industry, and by the way, everyone just be aware that the industry employs people to come into streams like this and try and defend the industry. So
that's how extreme those industries are. They're extreme.
Hawkman again, it's not all slaughterhouses out their way. At the end of the day, all slaughterhouses stab and kill animals to death or gas animals to death.
Okay, how do you feel?
So I'm just going to turn the camera around so you can see a bit more of the site.
How would we kill you in a nice way if you don't want to die?
So we've got Mel and Steve live streaming at the moment.
Killed you.
So these are the gates that they've sort of shut and locked up,
Still call that murder, right?
and that's where the trucks come in and stop.
The animals, everyone tries to people.
And yeah, we were just around the back earlier this morning, which was the packaging area.
Most people won't like that, luckily. Most people are good people.
Corey's on the justification that we've never heard before, everyone. To grow crop fields, everything must die, you silly people.
It's funny. It's funny that these people say we're silly and then put laughing faces and they're just embarrassed themselves.
And I think if I hear another animal
Some more
rights
staff
activist
leaving.
have to debunk crop deaths, I don't understand how all of the anti-vegan trolls can remember crop deaths and plants for pain.
That's so
But
true.
when they're given a debunked version of what that actually means, they seem to forget the actual debunking of it. So it's ridiculous.
That's so true. How are these
If you're not vegan, essentially you're paying for all of these animals to come into this facility. You're paying whether it's from, you know, the meat products that you buy,
Just want to say hello to
or the dairy industry, you know, milk products as well. You're paying for animals to come here and be slaughtered. You're paying for them to be bolt gunned to the head, sliced by the throat, put into gas chambers. And yeah, the animals that come into this site are cows and sheep. And yeah, the sheep are usually about 4 to 6 months old. They're just babies.
I would say that if you want to be consistent, you can't be against abortion and then
I'd highly encourage you to watch the link I've put in my description to this video, 3minutes.wtf. If you've got 3 minutes to spare, take a look, because most people don't know exactly what happens to animals and are shocked by what they've seen. We often do outreach to the public and we show them a 3-minute movie. And a lot of people go vegan there on the spot because they have compassion. They realise that the animals that they've seen in the video are individuals that have the capacity to feel pain, to suffer, and that we know that there is a solution there where you can choose kind and compassionate choices. The idea that you can be vegan, you can live in alignment with your morals, and you don't have to pay for animals to be bolt gunned to the head and sliced by the throats. And people come up with a million and one excuses, but at the end of the day, that's it. It's a choice. It's unnecessary. You don't have to do it. So why would you want to force animals into gas chambers? Why would you want to pay for animals to suffer? What do you think the most effective type of activism is? It's a good question. I don't think there's a one best way of doing it. I think the most effective type is to do as many different types as possible. So I think it needs the awareness raising to the public. So I think we have to show the public what happens to animals, and that can be done through a variety of channels, through live streams like this, through videos, speaking to people on the streets and showing them, for example, the 3-minute movie challenge, the 3minutes.wtf that's in the description. So we've got Mel and Steve on at the moment.
Nice, excellent. Covering my mic up so Mel can't hear me. 82 people in the room, that's absolutely epic. Absolutely epic. Is there vegans in here as well?
There's a couple, there's a few.
Nice. Absolutely awesome. Listen to what Alex is saying, absolute legend for the animals. Educate yourself, because if you don't know, you're about to be educated. So stay tuned and make an educated decision once you know better. Epic, man. That's excellent music.
Just gonna So yeah, the other security have just turned up. So I said they were on the phone earlier, and this is generally what happens: is they see activists outside, and they call in the backup, which we're not doing anything to affect the site, but security panic, and yeah, they've now brought another vehicle in with security on them. So yeah, they're paying more money. They're paying for staff to just come and yeah. Yeah, so most people won't have seen exactly what happens. You probably know a rough idea of how animals become the food that people eat, but no one would really know until they've seen it with themselves, to watch a documentary like The Land of Hope and Glory, like watching Dominion, or watching literally a 3-minute movie that's in the link to the description. And yeah, you can see everything that happens within 3 minutes, and that is usually enough for people to realise, I don't want to pay to contribute to these industries anymore. And that's how it kind of gives me a bit of hope, a bit of faith that there are compassionate people in the world, people that actually care. Because at the end of the day, if you've got a choice if you have a baby animal in front of you, if you have the choice to be nice to that animal, or to stab it in the face, or put it into a gas chamber, the fact there's so many people that would just want to harm an animal unnecessarily is pretty mind-blowing. But it's reassuring to know that when people do just watch a 3-minute video, they can see the compassion and they change their choices. And all you have to do is change what products you buy and what things you support, the industries you support. Nowadays we live in 2025. How's it unnecessary when you're going to eat it? It's unnecessary because you don't need to eat animals. It's unnecessary because you don't need to make a choice to force animals into these facilities. Instead, you can, when you go to a supermarket, instead of picking up, a beef burger, you can pick up a plant-based burger, or you pick up a bean burger. You have a choice of what options to make. You can make a choice that causes animals to be shot in the face, or you can choose to eat plants. And it's as simple as that. When you go to a restaurant, you can choose the vegan option. When you go to a supermarket, you go to the plant-based aisle, or eat plant foods, beans, lentils, legumes, tofu. There's so much out there that you can eat that doesn't involve harming animals. So if you actually look at the animal agriculture is one of the leading causes of the climate crisis, deforestation, ocean dead zones, species extinction, habitat loss. If everyone went plant-based, you could rewild 75% of the arable land in the world. So it does not cause more harm, because you think we could eat plants directly, or instead we're growing plants to feed 92 billion land animals. You're feeding them all the crops and then eating the animal's flesh. It's the most inefficient system when you can just eat the plants directly instead.
Do you get crop dust too? Is it crop
Yeah,
dust
but
on
it's
this
about
one too?
causing more harm, yeah, which it just doesn't make sense. It's just, yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, listen, just remember that your mic is on, so you might have to just hold it so that
So there looks like there could be a truck about to come in now. So I'm going to get some footage. It's a double-decker truck. Did you manage to get any mail?
On this side, the shutter was down.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got them or not.
That was coming through far too fast.
they've got all the shutters are getting higher and higher on this
Oh,
truck.
cool.
Looking the wrong way.
Yeah, and they do that on
How much
purpose.
poo's on that?
Yeah. Wipe on the grass, it'll be
I've got
alright.
some wipes in the car if you need any. So yeah, often these trucks now, they just have the open slats at the top. They make it very difficult. They try and disguise the animals that are going into these facilities. Same, when you're driving down the motorway, unless you know what to look for, you'd have no idea that these are trucks full of cows or sheep. And they were in a real rush to get that last one in. Obviously the gates are locked because there's activists here. But yeah, as soon as that pulled around the corner there, the gates open, that truck was going way too fast down this private road, which has probably got only a 5 or 10 mile an hour limit, and they don't want people filming inside the trucks. And you think, well, for these industries, why is it so hidden? Why can we all not see what happens to animals? Why is it so secretive? And the reason is because they realise that if people see what happens to these animals, that people would stop paying for them. People see the conditions of the animals that are in there, babies in there, they're really young cows. And if people knew the reality, then they'd stop paying for it. So yeah, sorry if I've missed quite a few comments as that truck came in. There's some more workers still turning up. It's not even 9 o'clock yet. Been here just over an hour or so far. So there's been multiple trucks that have already come in today. And yeah, they take cows and sheep here. So it's an unusual sight in that they take multiple different types of animals here. Usually the slaughterhouses specialise in 1 or 2 animals, especially around this area. They have dedicated sheep slaughterhouses and cow slaughterhouses. So this must be a pretty huge facility to be able to do, to kill multiple different types of animals.
This is serious and this is urgent. This isn't a, lions, horses. Those babies are being murdered right now.
Sorry, there's a lot of comments. I'm not.
I'm not trying to justify anything. I'm just stating that everyone has what happens to the beast. But if we identified as a victim, let's change the injustice. Let's say
So I'm here with Mel and Steve today in the background. If you haven't already seen, please go and subscribe to their channel. They're brilliant activists and they go to slaughterhouses a lot, similar, so do I. And yeah, we're here to expose these industries. We're obviously live streaming to show you, the public, exactly what these places are, to see the animals that are coming in onto the trucks.
that's completely fine. That's your voice.
Both my phones taken off.
Justice, it sounds mad you put it into a different context, but it means you can test the consistency of your position.
So yeah, I'm trying to get a bit of a better picture of one of the trucks that came in earlier.
I'm aware that I'm doing it, then it's okay for me to choose that option.
So far we've seen multiple trucks with the cows coming in, but as we arrived there was a lot of sheep trailers that had just left, and as I was driving up to this place saw a lot of cows, a lot of sheep rather, being taken, and they are babies. They're usually about 4 to 6 months old, but they looked far younger than that. More staff turning up.
Everyone's commented here like for a pack anonymous.
So this is inside. I know the lighting's really not great, but you can see all the cows packed together so tightly in these trucks, a fraction of their lives. They'll be taken inside the facility, they'll be bolt gunned to the head, and then have their throat sliced. Yeah, thanks for the support, Michelle. So yeah, this site is fairly big compared to more in the area. There's been a lot more staff turn up and a lot more security. They've had the extra security trucks, vehicle turn up as well because there's activists. But yeah, obviously we're on public property at the moment, and you know, we're not doing anything. We're not causing disruption. We're not disrupting. We're not causing any obstructions. You know, we're not throwing ourselves in front of the trucks. We're here to be peaceful. We're here to capture the animals, and that's who we're speaking up for today. You know, and a lot of the staff are subject to the exploitation of the industry. You know, a lot of workers here are taking jobs because they're good money, low barriers to entry, and sadly, a lot of the staff will end up with mental health problems, PTSD. We know slaughterhouse workers personally, and you know, they wouldn't wish anyone to work there, but these industries shouldn't exist at all. If you've got any genuine questions about being vegan, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And in the video description, there's a link to 3minutes.wtf. You can watch a 3-minute video of exactly what happens to all the animals in this industry, and it could change your life. And in my link tree as well, there's a link. There's something called Challenge 22. And if you have any questions about turning vegan, or you know, or what do I eat, or what you know, nutrients do I need, you can go to Challenge 22 and it'll offer this. It's a free mentorship. You can ask them questions, there's recipes, and it can essentially help you transition to being vegan. How long have I been vegan? I've been vegan about 4.5 years, and it was after watching a documentary called Earthlings, which is fairly similar to Dominion, if you've heard of Dominion. And essentially, yeah, I watched exactly what happens in an hour or two's documentary of the reality of what happens to animals. You know, what happens to cows, whether it be for the meat industry or the dairy industry. What happens to chickens, again, for meat or for eggs. What happens to animals in various types of entertainments, what happens to animals in the testing of animals, what happens to animals for things like products like clothing, like leather, fur and wool. And from that moment onwards, I had a choice. I had a choice to decide to continue paying for these industries that exploited and killed animals, or I had a choice to be kind and compassionate. And that's all being vegan is. It's rejecting this idea that we can use animals for our own benefit. And you can just step away from that. You can choose kinder options. And in 2025, you know, it's the easiest thing to do. Is vegan even heart healthy? A plant-based diet is, you know, don't have to quote me on it. Look at the British Dietetic, the American Dietetic Association. The plant-based diet is the healthiest diet. And one of the things to put it in perspective is that you don't get cholesterol from plants, you get cholesterol from animal products. So if you were to, you know, cut the arteries of a vegan versus a non-vegan, you can see the buildup of, you know, all the saturated fats and cholesterol versus much cleaner arteries. So for your heart health, being plant-based is one of the healthiest things you can do. There's a really good documentary on Netflix called What the Health. I'd highly recommend, you know, don't just take my word for it, do your own research. Yeah, Watch the Health documentary is a really informative documentary on Netflix.
You wouldn't want to be forced impregnated over and over and over. Just someone steal your baby and take your breast milk. We're not baby cows. Why the hell are you drinking breast milk from a cow? You're not a baby cow. So if you don't think you have been brainwashed and you think, oh, people are the ones who need to.
Sorry, I know there's quite a few comments. You can get some really good vegan alternatives today. You've got things like Beyond Burger, Moving Mountains. There's a lot of people do taste tests on the street and they'll give them, you know, a meat sausage roll and a vegan sausage roll, or a meat burger and a vegan burger, and most of the time people can't even tell the difference, and if not, they prefer the taste of the plant-based options. So in any supermarket now, you take a look to the left or the right and you see a plant-based aisle, you can get all the same products. You can get beef products, you get steak products, you can get chicken products that are all made from plants, all made without the cruelty and intentional harm to animals. So the cows and lambs matter, but not the hedgehogs, mice. All animals matter. We don't need to exploit any animals. We can live as much as practically. There's a truck coming. I think it's the refrigeration one, but just in case it's going to take a wide berth. So this is a refrigeration truck that's just pulling in now. Bit of a standoff at the moment. So once the animals are killed inside this facility, so for the cows, once they're bolt gunned to the head and have their throat sliced, and the same with the sheep, they'll be essentially chopped up into parts and processing, and they'll be taken away on those refrigeration trucks to most of the largest UK supermarket chains.
Someone's asked, what's the solution? The solution is that we show the world the exploitation the animals face, and then people...
Awesome. So yeah, it's Mel and Steve are with us today. They're live streaming right now on their channel at the moment. You know, they're brilliant activists. They get hundreds of thousands of views from their live streams and videos, and they make, you know, some of the best content out there. So highly recommend. You'll learn something from watching their videos. Highly recommend. Yeah, same with clothing. So, you know, you don't have to buy clothing with animal products in. You can buy cruelty-free clothing. You don't need to buy leather or wool. You know, like these trainers, for example. Not that I'm gonna be able to show you them that well. They look like regular Reebok trainers, except they've got a little vegan sign on the back to know that they're not made from any animal products. And, you know, there's a lot of shoes, jackets, anything like that you can buy that are cruelty-free. We don't need to eat animals, use animals, or wear animals.
I would suggest checking out Dr. Andrew Knight and looking at his studies on cats and dogs eating a plant-based diet. And then I would suggest amazing food by a company called Just Fine, and they do vegan dog food. Is it cat food as well?
I think there's cat food on the now, and
Alright.
I know Oswald do cat food.
Yeah.
It's really a good question. So I'll just
So yeah, and like another concept of veganism, which I know a lot of these comments are going to be about, is you have a choice of choosing for direct harm and intentional harm. So by you choosing products that contain animal products that you know has an indirect impact to an individual, for example, buying a beef burger, you know that has come from an individual that has been forced into a slaughterhouse. We can live with the most compassionate choices. We know that some things you may do in this world may cause harm, but it'd be unintentional harm. Whereas when you've got a direct link to you're paying for animals to be exploited and used, that is different. And veganism is just a concept of basically saying, I do not want to use animals, I do not want to exploit them. So the truck coming in. So there's a couple of refrigeration trucks been pulling in now after 2 animal trucks. We're against, you know, halal foods as well, the different methods of slaughtering an animal. We're against all slaughtering of animals. There was a recent expose that Joey Carbstrong did, filmed inside a halal slaughterhouse. I'd highly recommend going on YouTube, type in Joey Carbstrong halal, and you can watch it for yourself. Insects. What about insects? Yeah. Well, what about insects? This is the problem, you know, you eat what you want, but the problem is that the choices we make have victims. And if there's victims, we should always consider what it is from the victim's perspective. So we know that these animals are being killed at a fraction of their lives. So if we were to have empathy of those animals, then how would we feel if we were in their situation? Yeah, exactly. Insects die more when you eat meat. So when you could grow crops and eat those crops directly, or you grow far more crops, use up 75% of the arable land in this world to then feed 92 billion land animals, or you could grow far less crops and eat them directly, you can see which is going to have the most harm. Yeah, exactly. Pigs are more intelligent than dogs. Imagine, yeah, if these were truckloads of dogs coming in, most people would be absolutely horrified by that. Most people have dogs or cats as companion animals in their homes. They love them as a family member. So imagine if someone, you know, took their dog and shot them in the face and said, oh, well, I'm doing it because, you know, I need to eat or I'm hungry. I'm pretty sure you'd be pretty outraged by that. So why is vegetarianism not ethical? So the thing is with vegetarians, vegetarians still consume eggs, dairy, animal products. So for example, vegetarians that drink dairy milk, vegetarians are paying for the cows that are coming into this place. So dairy cows are forcibly impregnated, cycle after cycle, they then give birth, and the milk that the mothers produce for their babies instead are packaged up and put into supermarkets. And their babies are killed. If they're male, sent to the veal industry, and if they're female, they'll grow up to go into the same cycle of forcible impregnation for 3, 4, 5 years until they're no longer profitable, and then they end up in these facilities where they are slaughtered and sold as cheap meat. And that's what vegetarians pay for. And the same thing with the egg industry. So if chickens are laying eggs that are males, on the day 1 of birth, if those eggs that hatch are male, they'll go through into a macerator and killed on their first day of birth, because male chicks are no use to the egg industry. So why would the industry have them? So the idea that, you know, vegetarians are still paying for animals to die, whereas being vegan is the holistic view of not having the ideology of exploiting animals at all for any type of food, drink, clothing, or entertainment. The idea animals are bred for food, not pets. I mean, this is all cultural. So if you go to like the Yulin festival in China, they kill thousands of dogs, and that's normal to them. Yet here in this country, we have dogs as pets and companion animals. So it's all to do with, you know, in one country they treat dogs well, and in another they treat them like meat. But at the end of the day, all animals will have the capacity to feel pain and suffer. So why would we not just want to take a stand against any of them?
Who do you drink from? Did you just actually just say, who do you drink from? Unless you're a baby, you should only be drinking your mother's milk. When you're an adult, you shouldn't be drinking from any.
There's, I mean, the most ethical thing about the ethical terms of forcible impregnation, it's not just the process of the impregnation, it's the fact that as soon as they give birth, their babies are taken from them. If they're males, they'll be killed within the first week, and if they're females, they get taken away to, they're separated from their mothers, and then they are, once they're old enough, they'll be into the same forcible impregnation cycle, and then because they're milked relentlessly for period after period, they're then killed after 3-4 years. So there's no way to make it ethical because you're impregnating and exploiting those animals and then ultimately killing them. There's no way to streamline or make it more ethical. The more ethical thing to do is to buy a different product, to buy plant-based milks. Go ask a lion not to eat meat. Go ask a, you know, go ask a rhino not to eat plants. Go ask a hippo not to eat plants. Go ask a elephant not to eat plants. Thank you, Tracy. So what I'd recommend, Tracy, if you're still on, is check out the video in my description. Watch just the 3-minute video. It's called 3minutes.wtf. And you probably learn quite a lot. And if not, if you have a bit longer to watch, I'd say watch Dominion and you can learn even more about these industries. Yeah, it's a life-changing thing. You work on a dairy farm and are spitting all lies. All right, so how exactly does it work on your dairy farm? Please do tell me. Would love to know how you don't forcibly impregnate cows, or you don't take their babies away, or you don't kill them after they're spent. Because otherwise, how on earth does that industry even exist? That's the idea. So yeah, please do watch the link in my description, 3minutes.wtf, and you can just see a 3-minute overview of what happens to all animals in these industries. If you've only got 3 minutes to spare, I'd highly recommend watching it, and if not, there's a link tree to more links. There's watching Dominion, watching The Land of Hope and Glory, watch the Game Changers. There's also a resource called Challenge 22, and you can get, you know, free support, recipes, whatever you need, any questions answered about being vegan and how to align your choices to be more compassionate. Because we don't need to use and exploit animals. Just gonna grab some water.
This happens over and over and over and over until they can no longer stand, until they can no longer bear the weight of their own body. They're exhausted because they have intensively milked over and over. And when they reach around 5 years old, on average, 5 years is average, they get sent to a slaughterhouse. Mothers, a lot of the time, mothers, when they come to the slaughterhouse, are still pregnant. They are still pregnant. They're murdering
So yeah, anyone who's recently tuned in, we're live at a UK slaughterhouse. This slaughterhouse takes in cows and sheep. So there'll be dairy cows and beef cows and sheep as well, so lambs that are 4 to 6 months old and dairy cows that are usually 3 to 5 years old. And yeah, I'd highly recommend anyone to go and check out their local slaughterhouse, see the reality for yourself, see the animals going through onto the trucks.
I don't pay for people to go to slaughterhouses every single day, but you do. So I say to you, how can you complain about what's happening to people when you're sending animals to a slaughterhouse because of food directly? You're going every single day and funding murder hellholes, and you want to try and touch people. How can you treat
So yeah, what exactly is it that's different at your local dairy? You're saying, do you exploit animals? In fact, they're enslaved, impregnated, have their milk stolen? Because that's the dairy industry. There's no other way to do it. And you can see that reality for yourself. Go to 3minutes.wtf. You can live vegan. That's it. You can live vegan, you can be compassionate, you can be kind. You don't have to pay for animals to be shot in the head, to have their throat sliced, to be forced into gas chambers.
What's the difference? Why would you go there instead of here? Do you think one's worse than the other?
And it goes beyond the food industry as well. Like I mentioned, clothing. You know, animals. People think like things like leather are a byproduct. It's not a byproduct. It's a co-product. Animals are killed for clothing, for fur, for wool, for leather, and things like entertainment of animals. Like there's so many sports out there, and I guess not even just sports. There's places that enslave animals for human benefit. So people pay money to put animals in cages, whether they're in a tank, behind bars, on a race course. These animals die because of these industries. You know, oceanariums, half the animals in their tanks die. Same things with zoos. You know, they don't belong behind bars. Apologies. They don't belong behind bars in a country that is not native to them. They are, you know, if we really cared about animals, we'd leave them alone. We don't need to enslave them and get people to pay money to go and see them. It's all these industries that once you start to uncover the idea that this world exploits animals in so many different ways, all you have to do is live vegan. Stop paying for them to happen. Stop supporting the industries, because that's how these industries are built up. It's all supply and demand. What's okay for avocados? Was this going to be another Piers Morgan quote? And if it is going to be the same Piers Morgan argument, I'd say go and watch. Don't think so. Yeah.
I've seen him drive around a few times.
Oh really?
You would never tell others how to live their life. We're not telling others how to live their life.
Love the local support.
You must be vegan. What we're doing is explaining to people. So all we're doing is we're educating. No one's forcing anybody apart from non-vegan sports animals inside here. Or when you look at the basic biology of dogs.
Telling someone they're delusional or cruel because they're not vegan, not everyone shares the same ethics. No, I mean, yeah, people have different views on what is ethical and what is not, but from the victim's perspective, from the animal's perspective, you have to think of it from their point of view. What's ethical? What's moral for them? Would they want to be forced into a gas chamber? And you know, I wasn't vegan all my life. I was paying for these industries, but the difference is I didn't realise the harm and suffering that I was causing. And I know that deep down, like, I'm an animal lover, and I cannot continue to support these industries. I can't pay for animals to be sent to slaughterhouses anymore. So I became vegan and aligned my morals and my actions together. You know, and the people that don't really understand what happened, that's why I'm saying watch these documentaries, watch the 3-minute movie, watch Dominion. You can learn, you have that awareness, and once you have the awareness, you then have that moral obligation of what you do next. Do you continue paying for the cruelty, the suffering, the harm, the exploitation to animals, or do you choose the kinder option? And once you have the awareness, it's down to you to what decisions you make. Yeah, and if you want to watch the whole avocados, bees debate, please just go onto YouTube, type in Piers Morgan, Joey Carbstrong, and you can watch exactly how that pans out, because it's a funny video, and it's, you know, it gets brought up so much on any Piers Morgan show. Any vegan that goes on, he'll always bring it up. So yeah, highly recommend watching that short couple of minute TV interview. That's awesome, Lee. Yeah, you're right. Bees are important. All animals are important. But the biggest problems with, you know, the bees argument is the fact that the bees are part of the honey industry, which again, vegans don't support. Animals are, you know, bred, used, and exploited for their products. Yeah, all animals have the capacity to feel pain, suffering. No animal wants to be taken inside of a slaughterhouse on a truck and forced inside a gas chamber or have a bolt gun to the head. I know there's missed quite a few comments. So what do vegans eat? What do vegans eat to sustain good nutrition and protein without supplements? I mean, great question. I mean, I don't take supplements, but you know, people do. I think regardless if you're vegan or not, take a multivitamin, because any sort of deficiencies isn't a vegan or non-vegan thing. This is a general health thing. You know, take a multivitamin, then you're covered. Simple. But if, you know, without supplements, nutrition wise, like if we're looking at, it depends what sort of nutrition, but you know, things like something like protein, all proteins come from plants. Animals eat the plants and then people eat the animals. Like, animals are often the middleman for some nutrients when you can get it direct from the source. So instead of getting proteins from the animals, you get proteins from plants. Things like omega-3s, instead of getting it from something like fish oil, who get it from the algae, get it directly from the algae. So yeah, you can, I mean, nowadays you've got Google, you've got ChatGPT. If you have any questions like, where do I get this nutrient from plants? But all nutrients come from all plants. They contain everything that you need. And you know, the person who said they were vegan since 13, now 55 years old, surviving perfectly fine after all those years. And myself personally, I mean, I'm thriving. I'm not just, you know, surviving. I've never been healthier in my life, and that is without supplements.
Please go and look into it, because if you look into it with empathy and compassion, you have the opportunity to change, and then the animals will be grateful that you no longer exploit them. I hope that makes sense.
I mean, the cows are not at the end of their life going into the slaughterhouses, so often these dairy cows are 3 to 5 years old when they can live to at least 20 years old. They're babies, they're a fraction of their lives. It's like if someone was to say, oh, we're going to kill you at the age of 10, you're not at the end of your life. You're a baby, you're still, you know, you've still got all of your life ahead of you. Yeah, and I'm here to speak up about the ethics of animals, the animals that are exploited across all these industries, the biggest group out there that is exploited in this world, and a group out there that doesn't have a voice to talk. Just reading the comment about putting the honey on a leaf and watch a bee eat it and the bee will fly. It's a very interesting comment. So obviously bees make honey for bees. You know, they don't make it for humans. Often bees make honey and the honey is taken and they replace it with a sugary starch solution. and which is not healthy for the bees. And yeah, like the bees need it for themselves. So I'm not surprised that, yeah, you put honey on, you know, and the bee was healthy after having a bit of honey. It's their food, it's not ours.
In 2025, found that whilst most vegans met their overall protein needs, a significant number did not meet the recommended intake for lysine and leucine. Well, Pat, the good thing is,
Plants are alive, classic. Plants are alive, but they don't have sentience, they don't feel pain, they don't have central nervous systems.
so if you're missing
And even if they did, eating meat would be another reason to,
make sure that
well, you're killing more plants if they did feel pain, but they don't. So
your needs is whatever
that's a
you need.
stupid argument.
But a moment
Same with the crop field. We're
education
growing crops to feed 92 billion land animals. You could rewild 75% of the world, growing far less crops, which means far less of these crop deaths happening to eat plants directly. Animal agriculture causes more crop deaths.
plants feel pain. Declan, please don't be that person. Chip Cat, different plants are higher in amino acids, so having a balanced vegan diet, you can still max out on all your essentials. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Brandon, we're standing 100 foot from the door because they won't let us go there.
Yeah, for sure.
And happen now, and you can't.
So we're just going to go and have a look round more of the site.
What we're doing. We're
So obviously this is just the entrance where the trucks come in the main gate. So we're going to have a look around the side and see what else we can see.
If you want to look after anything here, just let me know.
Yeah, thank you.
When you check on stream, I think we've just gone down to like 7-2 in the room. I'm not sure if we still.
Right, let's have a look.
I think that we may have had a signal issue there.
You're not caring about your own safety. What
Yeah.
on earth do you mean by that?
It stopped.
It stopped.
So, right, I'm gonna have a little look around the side. And just for anyone's awareness, this is all on public footpaths and public property. So if you've just tuned in, I'm just going around the back of the site and we're going to go and take a look around the side of the slaughterhouse. So I'll just flip the camera around so hopefully you can see. where we're going. So the site's over to the left. It's obviously a lot of overgrown. Oh, you can hear the cows. Oh my God. If you can't hear that, those cows are just literally screaming in the side. So yeah, the slaughterhouse is on the left. So the trucks go in. And yeah, this site is huge. And the smell, which obviously you can't get on camera. So you can hear the cows inside there. Yeah, we'll do, Canny. So the cows are inside, looks like these wooden, beneath those wooden slats. No sheep get slaughtered at under 6 months. I mean, that's not true. Last month at a slaughterhouse that takes sheep in, we actually asked the farmers, and he said they were between 4 and 5 months old. You've never been in one of these factories. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of trucks outside, many different slaughterhouses all around the country, different animals, of cows, of sheep, of chickens. I know exactly what animals are going inside these facilities. And even if it, you're saying I'm lying, I'm not. If a farmer's telling me they're 4 to 5 months old, the farmer's lying, not me. But even so, what, they're 6 months old, what, a month difference? Well, doesn't make a difference. Sorry if the stream's lagging. Hopefully the audio's okay. So we're just roaming down the side of the site at the moment. If anyone wants to see a halal slaughterhouse, look at Joey Carbstrong's recent expose on YouTube. Type in Joey Carbstrong halal slaughterhouse and you'll see footage. Just been caught out lying. It's funny because I'm not, but people say and believe what they want. If we're standing outside a slaughterhouse and we're speaking to farmers and they tell us how old the animals in there are, that's the farmers, not us. But also, it's industry practice. 6 months old, usually sheep are. Can't argue with that. The smell is horrendous. Oh, classic comment again. Just repeating the same stuff I already said about how cows are not at the end of their life. They're 3 to 5 years old. They're babies. Some people are so triggered on this stream. You see the hooks there. There's a truck coming in at the moment by the looks of it. So we're just going around the side of this slaughterhouse at the moment, for anyone who's just tuned in. You see the trucks pulling in at the back here. Just pop that down for a second. Yeah, so this is, the truck's already unloaded the cows, so this is an empty one, which they often would take to the back and they would start cleaning. So they take the slats down at the back and they will usually wash it out. Often because inside the slaughterhouses is usually full of feces, urine, and blood, so they clean them out, which is what they're doing now. So, CA, so you were malnourished. So what nutrients were you lacking? And I would recommend then trying something like Challenge 22 and seeing, what it is that you could be doing more efficiently in, let's say, the food that you were eating. Because I have no idea what food you were eating, but I've been vegan for 4.5 years and I've never been healthier in my life. So I'd say it could be down to the diet you're watching, and watch What the Health on Netflix, watch any sort of health documentary on plant-based food, but also you've got things like ChatGPT and Google, and you can just have a look at, what's this guy doing? He's taking the slap down. TD Media have already said that this truck's likely empty. They've already offloaded it further up the facility, and this is where they'll come to clean it. So as I said, I'm just taking a stroll around the side of the site just to check out what's going on. So I've not been to this one before. Yeah, watch Dominion. Go and watch this sort of stuff for yourself. You can learn what happens. You don't have to take my word for it. Your diet was horrendous. Yeah, and that's, it could be down to, a few things, but, I think education and awareness of what foods we should all be eating to keep us all healthy. But yeah, vegan activists push absolutionist mentalities. At the end of the day, we want to push the abolition of animal exploitation. We've got to speak up for the animals, and we obviously want to help anyone making that transition, and that's why I'm saying, like, I've got some resources on my link tree. Things like Challenge 22 are really good for helping people tackle some of the problems that they're facing, whether it's nutrition or whatever other questions they've got. And obviously we want to support people that are, like you said, trying to align their morals and actions. Obviously that's what we want everyone to do, to see what happens to animals, to realise they shouldn't be treated the way that they are, and to essentially make the change. I think that's the last comment I'm going to reply to from TD Media, as I've already answered your question twice now. The cows are not in these trucks. They've already been offloaded further up the facility. This is the back where they come to clean out the trucks because they're covered in feces, blood and urine. There's no cows in these because they've already been offloaded. But as you can see, it's a double truck, which would have had cows in, 10, 15 minutes earlier. I don't think, it's hard actually not to respond. But I'll tell you, just for anyone that has joined, the facility here takes cows and sheep in. The dairy cows, they're often 3, 4, 5 years old, and the sheep are about 6 months old. So depending on what animals are coming in, depends on the age that they're being killed. So this is where they're washing the trucks at the back. The animals have been offloaded, and these trucks are going to be full of blood, feces and urine, and they're here to wash the trucks out before leaving the facility. Yeah, good balanced diet, yeah, it is needed. It can be made with plants. So that's the back of the facility where, as I said, they're cleaning out the trucks. So we'll just move back around the front. Yeah, this place is pretty huge. This is just on one side of this place. Show the evidence. All right, well, next time the sheep come in, I'll take a video. And actually, as I was driving up, I've got a video on my camera roll of the sheep inside the slaughterhouse truck. So I'd be more than happy to show you that, and I'll be posting it on my social media. Like, check out on my Instagram right now, look at my recent reels. I've got videos of sheep and videos of cows going into the slaughterhouses, so you can see it for yourself. Animals are made for food. Here's a question, are dogs made for food? What do you think about that? Are dogs made for food? So obviously we're here with Mel and Steve. Crazy how these people are fine with dogs being killed as puppies for food, but not exactly surprising. Yeah, they're really loud. Yeah, so down the end is where they take the trucks and sort of wash them out and clean them out. So yeah, this is where they keep the... Is it? I'm at 1 bar at the moment. Oh, like network. That's a great question.
Third time today. I've got 3 bars and 5p. This should be okay now. We're stopping this location for a period because just behind us here is where the cows are. This is the slaughterhouse. Here's the slaughterhouse workers there.
What questions have I not answered? Please do tell me, because for the comments that I'm scrolling through, I've answered every single one of them, and some of them I've answered 3 times. Doesn't matter how long you've worked in an industry, the fact is cows are taken here to be killed for food, and that is unnecessary.
So, the security are following us here. I'm hesitant to move the camera. Hey, hi Martin, thank you for coming back, Martin.
So, things I eat in a day, I try and eat as much sort of whole food, plant-based food as much as possible. So, I have something like oats with blueberries and raspberries for breakfast. I'll have some sort of like rice bowl for lunch, and then something like a curry for dinner. Anything with sort of rice, beans, pasta, oats. tofu, tempeh, seitan, and try and get as much, you know, vegetables in as well. Green smoothies, very healthy. You know, it's not just a vegan thing. Everyone should be having healthy foods.
So behind us, this is
Absolutely deluded. Are you talking about me or the people in the comments? Because there's a lot of deluded people in these comments.
You hear them cows? It's really harrowing. You realise that these are their last cries of help.
So we've got Mel and Steve live streaming at the moment as well.
no, the pride here up on
Security just following us around wherever we go on the perimeter.
Can't hear
They're
the
keeping
cows.
an eye.
They are bellowing. They're bellowing.
Who's fisting cows?
You heard that?
Well, farmers are fisting cows. They're forcibly impregnating cows, artificial insemination.
yeah, walk away, coward!
There's a slaughterhouse worker over there. Yeah, I agree. Some of these comments, yeah. Exactly. I completely agree. Do your own research. You know, do a bit more research. You don't have to take my word for it.